What profession was once highly respected but now is a complete joke? I heard a joke about AI developers. They are working towards their own unemployment. Nigerian prince. Bookbinders, weavers, most professions that do intricate work by hand have either been phased out by industrialization and tech advancement or simply aren't recognized for their work. I saw a video of a bookbinder restoring an old book spine recently, and the entire comment section was people making jokes and snide comments about how slow he was and how pointless the endeavor to restore it was. Mass production took the heart out of a lot of creative professions. Polish guy here. So in pre-war times, postal workers were highly respected for making a chance of contact with the world. Even after war broke out, they helped the soldiers fight with invaders. Since the war ended, the postal service was getting worse and worse. Not because of lack of cars, employees or post offices, but because of lack of proper time management. Photographer. It came from being a guy who had to understand chemistry and the whole photographic process and would travel from town to town to make a portrait of you. Before photography, you would have to be very rich to afford a portrait, which chances are would be the only picture taken of you in your life. Thus why 6th and early 20th century photography you see a bunch of literally deaf people. People would make a portrait of the cadaver to remember their loved ones. Then Kodak invented film and made it easier for masses to take photographs. You would still need some skill, and a professional would have an understanding of aperture, shutter speed, and a darkroom, so a photographer was a good profession, but not a glamorous one. Then the digital revolution came, cameras became better to the point that people feel today happy with their cell phone cameras, and most photographers make a living with a just above minimum wage, photographing for a theme park, a car dealership, or looking for gigs with real estate agents. Wedding photographers make a lot more by suggesting the most cheesy pose you can imagine and using a short focal distance. Blurry is fancy. Newspaper journalism number of jobs is a tiny fraction what it used to be, and overall respect for the profession certainly has suffered. President. Journalism. Between clickbait headlines, those 10 ways to or 10 things you articles and all the divisiveness and hate they spread, journalism has become pretty rubbish. Teaching. Pencil sharpener. Back in the day, there was a guy who would come to your business and sharpen your pencil for you. No joke. Town crier. Encyclopedia Britannica salesman. Circus clown. It feels like everyone is always laughing at me. Milkman. Astrologers, psychics and similar snake oil salesmen. Used to advise kings and nobles and have vast political sway. Now you're, rightly, considered a moron if you hand these hucksters any money. Alchemist. As someone majoring in classical studies, that whole field. Centuries of respect and attention from the best, and now most people don't know what it is. Graphics designer. Used to be glamorous to come up with designs, create logos and do print work. Now it's competing with a possible client's cousin who has a copy of Photoshop, fighting random internet strangers use your logo in their portfolio, or having to constantly defend your pricing because someone feels you should be doing it for free. Philosopher. Now it's mostly just a guy with a degree working at Starbucks or an office job or a teacher, another profession not as respected as it used to be. If I'm wrong, please correct me, no sarcasm. Teacher lecturer used to actually teach, have some authority and could run a class, nowadays a glorified childminder, blamed for anything because modern thinking is that students cannot be wrong. Roman legioner. The clergy. Anything having to do with politics. Scientist and/or medical professional. Suddenly, years or even decades of laboratory work and study are discredited by people who think some mom in a Facebook group and a disproven hoax is more credible. Cobbler.